So yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man. Thanks for joining us. I don't think you really need much of an intro, to be honest with you. I'm very confident that people know you if they're going to be listening to this stream. But I kind of wanted to give my perspective, which is like, I try to tell people on this show, like, yo, it's really important more than anything probably to know who is playing for how long they're playing. And I would say that you do the work to find out that information, maybe better than anybody that I know. And I'm not even trying to kiss up to you because I haven't said that to anybody else, I swear. But can you give us a quick little bit of insight before we get into some of the stuff that you're looking at for this game, for why, like, for how you do your prep? I know there's plenty of like understanding coaches, there's understanding, right? Like you're actually legit watching interviews at times to get that information from these people who are in charge of playing these dudes as many minutes as they do, right? So is that a big part of it? And like, what else really is some of the keys for you?
Yeah, I think really just like me grinding DFS for so long is just like knowing rotations like the back of my hand, like kind of knowing coaching tendencies as well in big games like this. So like, for example, the Golden State game, I was pretty confident that they were going to limit Jackson Davis just because, you know, Looney had played so well versus Sabonis the past year, and like Golden State, I thought they could play Draymond at the 5 as well. So I think it's just like a lot of grinding DFS every single day and knowing these rotations. And there's also like, you know, advanced stats too. Like I use Add More Funds a lot, taking players on and off the court, seeing what it does for, you know, players' assist rate, usage rate, stuff like that. So that's a lot of, you know, what goes into my process.
Yeah, no, but it's awesome. And it's why I like to get your takes on stuff, because it's a little bit less about like, here's what this guy did recently, and a lot more of like, here's what's going to happen in this game because of these factors, right? That matter a lot more. So really, really grateful to have you on, man. I'm going to keep kind of jumping in and out of the comments here with everybody to see what's up. But like, and I do want a few more people to be around. I feel like the highlighted topic that we definitely need to go over as the first game I have up is the Kings and Pellies, right? We're going to go game by game, and I understand this is not chronological because we're starting in the West Coast here. Well, I guess technically it's more the East Coast than it is the West in New Orleans. But either way, right, we've got that game coming after the Bulls and the Heat there. So for this Pellies and Kings game, I guess let's start away from Joe Val and Nance for 1 minute, because I want a few more people to jump in the stream, and I think that's the topic du jour, right? Did you have any other looks that you were considering at this point, or anything that you have gotten in for player props, or if there's DFS stuff that's relevant here, please feel free to drop that knowledge too.
Yeah, so I was on Keegan Murray points 17.5. I took that a couple days ago. I think it's still 17.5.
I'm gonna pull up prop.cash real quick.
Yeah.
Keegan Murray, we got 16.5 is what's pulling through here.
Okay.
Oh yeah, shoot, I'm sorry. Is that still available at FanDuel is the question though. Let me pull up a more accurate one.
Okay, yeah, I have DraftKings open at 17. It might be 16 in a few books. But yeah, my reasoning here is really the Kings rotation. They played 8 guys technically last game in a competitive game until they emptied the bench at the very end. I'm not even sure if Alex Len plays this game, so I think they could play 7. I think Trey Lyles could play some 5. But I really think this is a game where Murray's playing like 40 plus minutes for sure. Like him, Fox, and Sabonis in a do or die game. I think they're going to give him all the run possible. And as you look at the rest of the Kings roster, and it's like they don't really have a ton of other scorers, right? Keon Ellis, not really known as a scorer. Harrison Barnes, more out there for defense. Same with like, you know, David Mitchell and Lyles when they come in. So outside of Fox and Sabonis, this team is with Herter and Monk out. They just don't have a lot of scoring. So I think you're just seeing like close to the entire game played for Murray. A lot of shots. So yeah, that's one of the first plays it took was his points over. I took it last game too at 15.5, but yeah, still like it at, if you can get at 16.5 or 17.5, I think he's just gonna get a ton of volume and a ton of minutes.
You mean the game where he left his body and made 8 of 13 threes against the Dubs? That's the game where he took him over. That was probably a good play. He even got to the free throw line 4 times. Have you seen Props Madness yet? .com, this site that I'm on?
I don't think so. No.
Yeah, so Pips does a great job. He was on the show last week. Probably have him on again, and he put this together. And here's what I like more than anything about it is putting together just player shooting and opponent shooting, and then play type analysis. Right, 2 things that like I usually need like 6 tabs open at once to make sure I can look at everything I need. And now it's just kind of in one spot. And so for Keegan Murray, I just kind of wanted to see. I guess I thought he was shooting in the corners a bit more. but it looks like 38% are still coming above the break for his threes there. And then, I mean, that still is a pretty good spot to score for this Pelly's D. Like, how do you break down this Pelly's D in terms of like where it actually is vulnerable, especially because like Zion is probably having he is having his best defensive year and overall best year, obviously, but defensive as well, where he's not like quite the liability that he has been at times by just loafing around. So I feel like it has had a big impact on how this Pelly's team has fluctuated on defense. I'm wondering where you're kind of thinking they're most vulnerable in general.
Yeah, it's a good question because the Pelicans have been really solid defensively. And also this total was a lot lower than I thought it would be because it's sitting at 210.5.
Yeah.
So Pelicans defensively, like I think they're weakest with when JV's out there. I think the Kings are really going to attack in the pick and roll.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably like their weak spot. And we'll talk about it a bit more why I think Nance will play more. But just in general, I think the center position is probably where they're the most vulnerable.
Yeah, I'm going to give us another 7 minutes of people filing in before I jump into the big man conversations I know we all want to have, because it's the thing that's splitting the nation right now of betting. So we got to figure that out. I'm going to see if there's anybody that wants to look at something specific real quick from this Pelly's game. If you guys have anything for that one, let me know. I know I got a lot of stuff coming in on the Bulls and Heat here, but we got a couple that actually people were throwing in my Discord earlier. First, we got Alex Len unders. That was something we were talking about. I'd love to get your take on that. And we can follow that up real quick with Sabonis potential unders on the RA if you've taken a look at anything to do with that. And I can go through some stuff as well. But I want to kind of kick it off with, I guess we'll kick it off with Alex Len. And they're both related, right? We got Len unders and Sabonis unders for the RA. Like any thoughts on either of those dudes?
Yeah. So what's the Alex Len line right now?
Points
up. I don't think I see it.
For points, I have 1.5. It's only available on MGM. MGM is good about giving you the super ambiguous role player props early. I remember last year there was a game where Grant Williams had 4.5 point props up on MGM, and then nobody else even had a single thing up for him. But at 1.5 points, let's assume we're at 2.5 boards. Is there anything here? I don't know why he would go under unless you think he's basically just not going to touch the floor.
Yeah, for me, it's just like a stay away because I don't think I think there's a chance he DNPs if he plays like 5 minutes. Then okay, he can get like 2 points. So it's like that's just one of those. I'm probably just not gonna bet it.
Yeah, staying away from Alex. There's nothing there for me either. It's just such a random sort of chance of events that I don't really want to bank on that as well. What about Domas, though? I went under on the rebounds versus the Dubs, and I was looking at a lot of stuff that actually caused you, I think, to take out Trace Jackson Davis in a way and be like, he's not going to get the time. And I was like, I think that's a big reason why Sabonis will be further away from the basket very consistently in that game, having to deal with Draymond, which is something we've seen in the past. Because that's really what I'm looking for with rebounds. Is one of the starting points is like, well, what's the matchup? Like, does that person need to be near the basket on defense? That kind of thing. So where are you at with him in this one? And I guess we do need to sort of start delving into the Joe Val, Larry Nance stuff, because that's going to be impactful here as we talk about Domas as well.
Yeah. So we're talking about his rebound line right now.
We could do rebounds. The specific question was RA for 22.5 under that number. And I'm sure you're aware that whenever someone's not whenever, but oftentimes when someone brings a bet to the comments here, they're probably looking at a lot of recent numbers and going, well, it's been green a lot or it's been red a lot. So this is pretty predictable as a starting point. But beyond that, what do you take away for the Domas under potential on the RA?
Yeah, so the only concern I have with the under on the RA is his assist percentage this year with Monk off the court. It's almost like 40%. I don't have it up right now. I think it's like 38% assist percentage with Monk off the court. So you're really just going to get, when Monk's not there, it's just offense with Fox and Sabonis. So I think that's the only concern I have is I think like he'll be heavily involved, with the potential assists. And obviously I think he's going to play massive minutes. So I'm probably not going to bet it, but if I was, I think I would lean the over, but not by a wide margin.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm going to look at in props.cash here real quick. I'm pulling up Sabonis in the RA this season without Huerter and Monk. And yes, I know it's Herter, but I'm going to keep going Huerter, so don't worry about correcting me, everybody. So on the season, only 10 games that he's played, and it looks like, it was the last 10 because they were available for the first 72, right? So yeah, the unders here. I mean, is there anything to like it being the end of the season? Because my thing with Domas is for the assists has been like, I actually like taking the overs when it's Monk and Huerter specifically, because those two dudes are doing the dribble handoff stuff with him more than anybody else. And if there's ever going to be an easy assist, it's just a dribble handoff and a dude's wide open because you're standing in between him and his defender. He's at the 3-point line above the break, dead on, right? And so I do think there's probably some correlation to here. In the last 10, we're at 12.5 potential assists for him. And if we trim that to the whole season, I imagine it's a lot. Oh, I have to take these dudes out. My bad. But if we even trim that down to, so that was without them. If we do with them, that's what I need to do. My bad. So I'm pulling up Monk and Huerter with them on the floor rather than without. And even in the last 10, I guess it went down a bit. But I thought those potential assists would still be pretty high. And I suppose we should be looking at the opponent too, but yeah, they just kind of trimmed in general. So I suppose that's a bit of what people are looking at. If you split them up and you look at the rebounds, what's your thoughts there for Domas and his 14 and a half board prop?
Yeah, 14 and a half seems a little high. I think like 13 and a half is where you're getting a lot of them. So like 14 and a half, yeah, I would probably lean the under on that, but
right. So you're a little bit more like, if you're taking the RA, the fear there is actually that he goes over on the assists.
Yep.
Right. And under on the rebounds, which makes sense. I want to pull up his rebound chances real quick by just going to the tracking data here on NBA Advanced Stats for those of you who have not yet seen us do that. This is super helpful. So I'm just on players and I'm going to the Stat Kings for a minute to look at what he's been doing as of late, because I think the last 10 without those two dudes is hyper relevant to just his stats in general. But if you do trim this to just the Kangs and look at the last 10 real quick, pulling up his rebound chances. So ridiculous. Like, what are you supposed to do with that? I mean, the rebound chance percentage is still at 53. I would almost argue that's low for him. Although it's like, 65 is oftentimes when you're going to see one of the better rebounders getting, I would say, in terms of rebound chance percentage. But man, yeah, there's a lot of fear behind taking any of that kind of stuff for him. It kind of makes me think of Threegan Murray real quick and his rebounds too. I thought he might be a little bit more of have an impact last game. I don't remember how many. Yeah, he had 9 against the Dubs. That's right. So we did like the over in that one. Any thoughts about like who might not necessarily fill in on the rebounding, but who would kind of come along for the ride in terms of boards? I know Trey Lyles has been a popular pick for boards going over there as well. Not sure if you had any thoughts about that stuff.
Yeah, I kind of like the over on the Lyles one, just because, as I mentioned, like, I don't know if Alex Len plays this game, just because I think if, like, when Len would come out, it would most likely be when, like, Nance is out there, so like, I don't think that's, like, a great matchup. Also, I just think that, like, Lyles can definitely play the small ball 5. Like, they really don't need Len minutes, so
right.
If that does happen and you get, like, Lyles at the 5, once the bonus is not out there, that's a really big benefit to his rebound numbers.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I mean, it's just a question of, is he going to get those minutes, right? Like, so you have Domas at probably like 38 to 40 minutes, I would imagine. Like, I can't see him playing.
Yeah, I think honestly he'll play low 40s, probably 41, 42. Yeah. And then also, like, one other thing to note with Lyles is if Harrison Barnes is struggling, like, they can close with Trey Lyles. They've done it before, so like there's definitely upside in minutes for a guy like Lyles.
Yep. For sure. Yeah, I think my thing with Lyles was exactly that. Like, it's a little bit of like, who is the opposing power forward? And I don't think there's going to be more. Like, we've seen Willie Green completely comfortable with Joval, and then, I mean, Brandon Ingram is your 4, right, at that point. So like, and then I guess Dyson Daniels comes in at times to play that 4 as well. But do you see him getting any minutes or plucking any of those kind of minutes as well for the Pellies?
Dyson Daniels?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see him getting extended a bit. I also would not be surprised if you see a little bit of Najee Marshall this game. I was kind of surprised he didn't play last game. So I could see him playing a little bit maybe. But yeah, like with Daniels and maybe Marshall, I'm probably going to stay away just because if they do play Najee Marshall, that would hurt Dyson Daniels. So I think it's possible. So I'm probably just going to stay away there. Yeah,
I got you. So then that does kind of bring us back real quick, because I did have someone asking specifically about the Threegan Murray rebounds. Do you have anything there? Because I did, even just in the last 10, you're kind of seeing that he is, in terms of rebound chances, right? He's second on the squad. You even got Harry Barnes at 8.6, which is shocking. But you're probably going to see at least, the minutes probably even go up a little bit for all these guys, right? With what they've been averaging in the last 10. So I am kind of liking the idea of Threegan Murray. They're getting the 6 boards. What's the number at again? I think it's, it's minus 144. There's no edge there for me for him to get 7. Do you think that's ballooned too high at this point for him to get 7 boards?
No, I think you could take some alts on Keegan. Again, I just think he's gonna play massive minutes. So
yeah,
I like the read there on the rebound prop.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I think that is a go. I think, like you said, you take the alts and you just kind of maybe trim the unit size a little bit rather than worry about like having to put 1.4 units down to make one back on the over 5.5. So I would say, yeah, over 6.5 is a good look at like a half a unit. I'm going to be doing this stuff a little bit quickly today so we can make sure we get as much of DK's time as possible. A couple other things you can see up here, dude. The Trey Murphy threes and the CJPA. Want to ask you about that real quick with Trey Murphy threes and what you might be looking at there.
Yeah, so what's his line right now with threes?
I'm sure it's still 3.5, right? There's no way they bumped that thing up to 4.5, even though they've done it quite consistently. But that was with BI off the floor, not with Zion off the floor. Yeah, 3.5, yeah.
Yeah, I do like Murphy a lot because I think he's definitely going to start. I think he's going to play 40 plus minutes. Like I took his over 25.5 PR. I think it's 26.5 now. But yeah, the 3-point prop good with as well. Like you saw the minutes like he was playing at the end of the regular season with Brandon Ingram out. Yeah. Now you have Zion out, and I don't think Ingram's going to play some minutes to Zion. Like I think they're still going to be, I don't know. Like he doesn't look like himself, so I think you're going to see a ton of opportunities here for Murphy. So yeah, good with the over there in the 3-point prop.
Yep. Looking at obviously he's shooting above the break all over the place. Kings I've gone back and forth with, and I guess real quick on that point about any of these dudes, whether it's Trey Murphy, if it's Herb Jones or any of these other dudes that are going to be playing spot up shooter, right? Like where do you go with that with Zion off the floor? Because I know on this stream and probably a lot of other places, we were feeding our kids with Trey Murphy and CJ threes while BI was out. But this ain't BI. This is Brandon. Right. This is Zion being out is much different because those assists were wonderful for those teams that collapsed down onto Zion when he would get into the paint, right, and then kick back out. And that's what we would see here, by the way, because the Kings, while they're middle of the pack in terms of the opponent field goal percentage, like right around the rim, you can see they only give up the third fewest points right around the rim overall, in part because like they're just going to collapse on you. Like Mike Brown will make sure that the ball is the focal point of the offense, and that leaves spot up shooters open, which is why you can see right here that they give the third most spot ups, right? It all makes sense. But now you don't have that dude barreling into them at whatever weight he is these days. So what do you do with that sort of change of philosophy? Like the Pellies are going to be shooting a lot of jump shots, no?
Yeah, that's a good point because Zion off the court, you're not going to have as many good looks at the 3-point line. So that would be the one downside, I guess, with that prop is you that's a really good point. Like you're not going to see as many teams doubling. Like you're just not going to see what we've seen with Zion there. So
right.
I think a little more jump shots for sure.
Yeah, and that's why Trey's efficiency goes up. His shots don't even go up that much. I actually just have it right here. I'll just cover our faces awkwardly real quick to just show the graphic that I was putting up earlier for Trey with no Zion. So you can see, I guess I'm still here. I'm just covering you up. My bad, dude. The Trey with no Zion, right? This is what I was showing around earlier. The minutes are not even going up. The points go up. But the field goal attempts barely go up. So what does that tell you? The efficiency jumps a ton, right? It's like 44% three when he's off the floor. And I don't have a solid explanation for that because in my estimation, like it would be a lot more of you'd expect that to go down without easier shots. But I guess, yeah, the efficiency goes up a bit in general. So is there anything there for that? So for Trey, I think I like the look because it is minus 102. I'll just end the Trey stuff on there. Like I definitely am good with the look. I'm looking at the last few that he's played against them, and obviously Zion was in for a lot of those. I'm looking at the threes that he took. So it looks like 8.5. This season, they've played, 3 times now that he's been in the game, or at least they have this tracking data. So it's at about 8, right? 8.5 threes. That makes sense for him. So now you're talking about 4 on 8 to 9 threes, unless you think that goes up a bit. Do you think like 8 to 10 threes is probably reasonable for Trey?
Yeah, I think that's probably what you're expecting.
So then, yeah, you can probably find a bit of an edge if you wanted to hit Trey threes. I personally am not hitting that, but what about CJ threes? Because that was the other look that I think a lot of us, and you can throw the assists in there as well, right? Mm-hmm. If you wanted to talk about anyway.
Yeah, so CJ, I mean, we kind of got an outlier bad game last game, so I'm not really reading into that. He played awful, kind of got benched. Was probably not going to close last game if it wasn't for the Zion injury, but yeah, I don't think they really have an option here with Zion out. I think you're getting just massive minutes for CJ, and you saw what he was doing down the stretch of the regular season with Ingram out. So the line is, what's the line at right now for CJ?
For his threes, it's 3.5, juiced all the way down. You really got to take 4.5 unless you want to eat minus 135 is probably the best you'll find.
Yeah, but I think he's gonna have a ton of volume tonight. So, and I think he get massive minutes.
maybe a potential little baby ladder there for CJ on the threes. Yeah, I think I'm gonna just thumbs up stuff for now because like I said, I want to make sure I get through as much with you as I can. But I think we're definitely thumbs up in the CJ threes. Now, do you like that more than the points and assists?
So let me see. What's the line right now for points assists? So they got him at
29.5 is what we're being asked about. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I like both. I would probably lean the points plus assists just because weird stuff can happen with the 3-pointers, I guess. But yeah, I think both those are good bets on the overs for CJ.
Okay, so I mean, here's the main thing. It's like he's 21.6 without Zion in 8 games this season. In the did I not do this season? Okay, hold on. Wait, need up this season without BI. 17 games, 7-point jump. Right now, there is a 3-point gap here. He's 4 points actually. He's scoring 25.7 without Brandon Ingram. I just wanted to illustrate that like Zion being out is not as big of an impact on CJ's usage necessarily as Brandon Ingram being out, which makes a ton of sense. They're much more similar players and on the floor doing similar things much more so than with Zion. But that is what I just want to temper people with, which is like, the threes will be there. I agree. 10 threes is probably what we're looking at here for him tonight. On the season, 8.6 without Zion, 8 games, decent sample size, not the biggest data set possible, but without Zion, the other thing is the efficiency. This is what I was thinking could be the case with Trey Murphy, 43.5% because he's just all spot up, right? When he's got Zion out there driving and kicking to him, the 37.7% on the threes when without Zion. Probably taking a bit more off the pull-up. Know he's a much better shooter off of the spot. I mean, everybody is, and he's a good pull-up shooter. I don't want to take that away from him, but for me personally, I would be playing maybe the points and assists. And without Zion, the assists actually don't even go up that much. Man, there's a tough look there. But I think you're leaning over anyway on the threes for CJ, and you don't mind the points and assists as a side look as well, right?
Yeah, and it really comes down to like what you think Brandon Ingram is right now, which I don't think he's even close to 100%. He doesn't look like it. I don't know how many minutes he's going to play, so you even could see like a limited Ingram. So yeah, I think any of the CJ props are good.
Because you're here, I want to ask you about Quincy Jones's question too. Key Murray, we're talking about Murray here, over in fantasy points. I don't know what his fantasy score bet is, but maybe you have it up on like.
I'm guessing is that on Prize Picks that we're talking about?
Yeah, either Prize Picks or Underdog. I imagine you can take.
I think they have it at 33.5 last I looked, which I would prefer, or they have it at 32.5. I still think I'd prefer his points there than the fantasy score, but yeah, points okay. Or points plus rebounds, I think. But yeah, 32.5 dropped a little bit. I think it was 33.5 earlier. Okay,
so then I'm gonna get you out of here within a reasonable amount of time. So I want to get over to the Eastern game, but before we do, the last questions I had are what was I just asked about that I liked? Oh yeah, the Trey Murphy rebounds. I was looking at that when Brandon Ingram was out, and I hit it early, and then he kept getting like 6 to 9 rebounds, and then that kind of that nuked everything for me. So, is there anything there for Trey? I'm gonna look at his rebound chances for a minute, but I want to hear what you have to say about that. And keep in mind, I'm a big believer in Sac's rebounding abilities. I think they're a very good rebounding team overall, but want to see what you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, his rebounding rate has been pretty solid. Recently, they have it at 6.5.
Seems a little high.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably stay away from it. I don't know. What's the rebound chances recently?
10 over the last 10 games, averaging 6.9. Nice.
Yeah.
But there's not much of an edge there. I would hope that the 6.5 is good juice for Trey. This is CJ rebounds. Trey 6, and it's going to be plus money on FanDuel right now. DraftKings minus 102. So, that's a little bit scary, to be honest with you. Oh, look what we have here. I got Daft Previews added to the stage. What's up, mate? Hold on. Let me get this correct. I was going to put you up there as some bloke in your spot, but I couldn't get a title bar over you. How's it going, bro?
What's good? I just woke up, man. 8 a.m.
Oh, my goodness.
Scrambled eggs. We're ready to roll. Big guy.
I love it. You guys haven't met yet, right?
We have now.
No.
Nice. Good stuff. Well, either way, we're going to I'm going to get you on here, bro, correctly, and then we're good to go. All right. So this looks better, way better. I want to keep going with what we were just on. So the Trey Murphy rebounds is a little bit of a pass for you. Is that right, DK?
Yeah, I think I'd pass there.
Yeah, there's 10 rebound chances. There's not much of a jump without Zion in there. What say you, Daniel, Mr. Daft Preview? What you been up to recently with these props in this Pellies game? Anything with Trey Murphy while we're on the subject?
I'm actually thinking of taking the under. I think that 6.5 is too high.
Yeah,
it's too high for my liking. I'm thinking of taking that under. His numbers without Zion, pretty poor. And you spoke about his rebound chances. I don't know if he's going to get there.
Yeah, 10 rebound chances to get 7 rebounds for Trey Murphy. That seems a little bit wild, no? I'm going to put him in courtside pal for 1 sec just because I'm like a little bit like a dog with a bone on this one where I'm just like, can't let it go. Because now I am thinking that the under is a much better play. I just want to see how his rebounding profile compares here to this Kings defense. Yeah, the Kings are a really good rebounding team. So that's really what it comes down to. As far as they're third best at limiting his rebound profile from getting those boards. And you look at his head-to-head stuff, 0 out of 6 there, averaging the 3.3 boards. I'll even take Zion out, so this is a little bit more accurate and see if that bumps anything up. But still at 3.3 boards over every time he's played this team, including the one this season without Zion. So there's not much there for the Trey Murphy boards to go over for sure. But I would say that the under is not a bad play there for Trey Murphy. Before I do get to the Eastern Conference game real quick, and we can come back to this in a minute, Daniel, once DK needs to leave. But DK, anything else for this game before I do push on to the Bulls and Heat?
Should we talk about the centers, or do you want to do that?
Oh my God! Now we have enough people in here. Let's get to it. Just so you guys know, I'll pull this up too. We got basically like a Jon Snow situation from DK, as we know. I'm going to pull up your tweet, which is just spot on, man, spot on. But let's get into it. We're talking about the difference between Joval and Larry Nance, and I feel like you're taking overs on both of them. Is that right?
I'm going overs on Nance and unders on JV.
Wonderful.
So my thought process here is, I see like everyone on gambling Twitter is like the opposite. They're on JV overs and Nance unders. And a lot of people are citing game logs this year in the regular season. I think in a do or die type game, it's a little bit different. Pelicans tend to lean on Nance a little bit more in these type of games. Also, I think the Kings are going to just abuse JV in the pick and roll. He's an awful defender, and I think the Kings are really going to attack him early. So I think there's a likelihood that JV could see really limited minutes. And then also Larry Nance on the year has team best 39.3 net rating and a team high 100 defensive rating versus the Kings. So I took a plus 11,000 SGP with some alts unders on JV and alt overs on Nance, because I think there's a possibility this could be a game where you get the notification Larry Nance starts the second half ahead of JV, and JV plays 10 minutes or something. So those are my reasonings. I know Zion out. It's possible they could lean on JV a little bit more, but I really think in a game like this, the Kings are just going to really attack JV on the defensive end.
Interesting. Okay. And before I say anything to that, what about you, Daft? You got anything for those rebounds, or not rebounds even, just anything for those two bigs on the Pellies?
Well, I think in games like this in the playoffs, right, we've only got 2, 3, 4 game slates. What you're going to find is there's going to be some trending players, and the most popular players, I feel like the ones you need to be cautious of. On the last slate of games, we had Tyrese Maxey points and assists, Trae Young over and assists, right? Absolutely pounded into the core of the earth, and neither of them got there. I feel if it's too easy to find, it's probably too good to be true. This Valanciunas play is exactly that. Now, I am a very casual bettor, so I still took the play. Not gonna lie. But I only took Valanciunas over in points. For Sabonis, I think everybody's talking under in rebounds and assists, right? But I project him to get 40 minutes tonight. He's not going to play the 32 to 35 minutes he normally does. Yeah. So I was a little bit cautious on taking Sabonis unders.
Right. I think that's all you need to know about Sabonis unders too. We covered that briefly earlier, and in the 35 minute, I'm sure that's why you brought it up. But the 35 minutes here, and he's bumping up against 23 consistently, and you add another 7 minutes to that. You think he's not getting another couple rebounds in 7 minutes when this man's already getting he's at 4 rebounds a quarter or something stupid, 3.5 rebounds a quarter. So you want to take him for another couple minutes like that? Yeah, that makes entirely a lot of sense to me for sure. as far as Nance goes, like, look, and I put this out as well, right? Like, my thing with going over for Joval, because I did take his double-double at plus 165 last night, and I took the over 21.5 PR because it kind of spilled over from 20.5 to 21.5, and I was like, well, then that just saves me from having to take the alt because I took it at like plus 102. But the thing that I'm looking at here is just, do they trust Larry Nance to guard Domas, right? And because they can't put these two dudes on the court at the same time. You can't have Larry Nance and Joval on the floor against a team that's going to have 4 3-point shooters on the floor at all times as well in the Kings, right? And has 3 dudes that are like 6'9" or 6'10" and can guard the wing between Harry Barnes, Keegan Murray, and even Trey Lyles out there. So and then by the way, like, Keon Ellis can guard everybody. One of my favorite players in the NBA at this point. God, I love that man. So there's going to be really good wing defense all over the place for them. For Larry Nance, that's what I wanted to pull up while I was interrupting myself to talk about how much I love Keon Ellis. For Larry Nance, the head-to-head stuff is what I want to look at for the minutes. So yeah, he got 11 RA in this last game, so 5.5 boards. Only had 2 points, but the assists and the rebounds were up for him against this team. So he's played them all 4 times this year. Or I'm sorry, he's only played them twice this year. He sat for the other 3 games that they played him, going over once. The minutes is what I wanted to look at. So it's 14 and 12.5. Like, do you think he needs more minutes, basically, DK, because Zion is out, and they're, like you said, the pick and roll is going to be the problem for Domas, and that's really what it comes down to. I don't want to make you repeat yourself, but you're not worried about this lack of minutes in the past for him against this Kings team.
Yeah, because I just think that a game like this is a little bit of a different story. It brings me back to the point of like the Jackson Davis, why I liked the under on him earlier. Like, I don't think I just really think the Kings are gonna like exploit the weakness there. So. And we see a lot in these games. Like they lean on Larry Nance down the stretch. I'm pretty sure. I think it's gonna be like a lock that Nance closes. So, and the reason I took the SGP too is I think it's just like a wide range of outcomes. Like if JV plays really well, sure, they get extended. But like if he really struggles, they could play him like very limited minutes, which is why I took the all overs on Nance and all unders on JV.
I'm laughing because GoHorse is like, Stat Graph's board, DK, just no ball.
No ball, bro.
Just no ball, bro. What are you talking about? What's all this stat stuff, you nerd? All right, they're clamoring for Bulls and Heat as well, and I'm just gonna kick us off with what I'm thinking about in that game and what I took so far. And I'm really loving talking about this Heat team without Jimmy Butler in, because this is like kind of what I do. I'm like, oh, nice. Like, we can talk about with and without stats, and we can talk about who's going to pick up the slack in this way and that. And I love that because it gets into a lot of game theory. But really what I want to talk about briefly, let me pull up the people I'm talking about here on props.cash so we can talk about it. So what I'm interested in and what I did bet already, let me see here. I've got I do have Caleb Martin so far with a bet in there on the PRA. I'm ready for some playoff Caleb is what I'm talking about. And what I looked at, y'all, is, and I'm not sure if everybody in here is familiar. I'm sure these guys are, but what I want to pull up real quick is the what did I just want to pull up? I just completely lost my train of thought. Caleb Martin. He's the dude who guards DDR. That's really what it comes down to. He's the dude who guards DeMar DeRozan when they play. The last 2 games, he spent like the majority of the time guarding him. He got 38 minutes at 34 minutes, because he's guarding the dude who's playing and shooting all the shots for Chicago. So in that sense, I'm like, he's going to trip and fall into 4 rebounds. That's for sure. Like, he's going to be on the floor for 40 minutes. I don't know how you take him out. And the other dude who's going to be doing that is Haywood Highsmith, who also guarded a lot of DeMar DeRozan when Caleb Martin was in there and when Jimmy Butler was in there. Jimmy Butler's not guarding DeMar DeRozan. So as much as he impacts the defense, and the overall defense gets worse for sure, and I like an over a lot in this game as a result, that doesn't necessarily mean that like DeMar, things are going to be different because DeMar doesn't have his primary defender. Primary defender is Caleb Martin. That's a huge part for why I took the PRA. He's not someone whose numbers jump up a ton when Jimmy sits. They're pretty much the same, but they're right about at this number. So let me start with you, DK, since you time is of the essence here. But what do you think about the Caleb Martin start? And then if you want to go anywhere else from there about who you think might pick up the slack for Jimmy's absence, essentially.
Yeah, no, really good points there on Caleb Martin. I took his PRA a couple nights ago, last night, whatever it was, 17.5. It's 18.5 now. I still like it, though. I think he's going to play massive minutes. Last game was one where I talked about kind of for DFS. I thought the Heat rotation, they're going to go with the hot hand a bit outside of like Jimmy, Bam, and Hero. And they kind of did that. They wrote Hawkes down the stretch, Highsmith. But in this game with Jimmy Butler out, I don't think they have a choice. Like, I think Bam, Hero, Martin, Hawkes are going to play big minutes, and they'll kind of ride the hot hand with, maybe if Duncan plays, I don't know, Highsmith, guys like that. But yeah, I think we're going to see huge minutes for Martin. And we've seen him take over games too. Like last year in the playoffs, he had a couple of massive games. So I thought that line was too low. I think he's gonna play huge minutes, and I like the over.
Yeah, love that. Let me toss it to you for a minute, Daft, because I want to know what people were talking about in my Discord earlier. My Discord, it's our Discord. Our Discord earlier. That was so possessive. I apologize. Such a white guy thing to do. But the our Discord, like what are the rebounds? Who is getting rebounds besides Bam Adebayo? That's what I'm trying to understand. Like, is there anybody that you think comes in alongside him? I don't think Kevin Love can get too many minutes. He's there's not really a good matchup in this one for him. I think you want to just keep it a little bit shorter. Everybody around Bam being very athletic and fast, and then Bam, right? Like that's how I'm previewing it. So maybe some Jaquez, maybe some Caleb Martin on the rebounds, maybe some Highsmith. Not sure if you took anybody's boards in this one specifically.
Rebound wise, no, I didn't. But I do think Kevin Love can get some runtime, right? We know both of these teams play very slow. I think they're both in the bottom three in terms of pace. Yeah. So we could see some Kevin Love at the 5 for 15 minutes at least, potentially.
That makes sense.
So I didn't look at anyone for rebounds, but I did take a play on Haywood Highsmith for the very similar reasons. I think he's going to be that second option as a defender on DDR. I think he's going to get his shot profile makes sense to me. He lines at 6.5 points, but I ended up taking his over 1.5 3-pointers at plus 170 because you know how I'm all about that plus money, right?
I do.
So, and I even salt bait a little bit on 3 3-pointers made. Now I use high-low just to watch some film, and he's not afraid to shoot, especially in a lot of those areas where the Bulls a little bit susceptible. He's going to get a lot of open looks, especially if the game goes the way I think it goes. A lot of blitzing of Tyler Hero to get the ball out of his hands. If Bam's eating down low, I think they kick it out. So I think over 30% of his shots are in the corners.
Yeah.
And there's still quite a bit above the break as well. So I don't mind Highsmith 3-pointers.
Interesting. Before I go any further, I need to call out myself. At first I was like, there's no way this is Kevin Love's recent stats against Chicago. Now, obviously, it goes all the way back to last, but I was like, oh, it's not pulling through. What's wrong with props.cash? Why is it telling me that Kevin Love had 50 PRA? Oh, that's Terry Rozier. Okay, now that is wrong. But I clicked on the wrong one. But it's still Kevin Love coming in at 12.5 PRA. Can I have a Kevin Love projection from you, DK? Because I'm starting to be turned a little bit by when Daft was talking about how he's like, no, I think there is room for Kevin Love in this game. I was basing my thinking on it being like, is Andre Drummond going to set foot on the floor? And if he doesn't, do you really need Kevin Love as much? I'm now a little bit jumbled. So can you help me with that Kevin Love stuff real quick?
Yeah, no, Daft brought up a good point. I think this is like there's not many matchups in a big game where I think Love's going to play minutes. But this could be against the Bulls. They can hide Kevin Love out there. Also, I would not be shocked. I think it's possible he could play a little bit alongside Bam. Not super likely, but that's in the range of outcomes. So especially too if Duncan doesn't play, which we don't we don't know what's going to happen there. Love can provide a little bit of shooting too. They brought him in at the end of the game. I was a little bit worried about it because I took Duncan PRA last game, and I was sweating that he was going to come in at the end and shoot a 3, and I was going to lose it because Doug is over. But if they don't play Duncan, you can bring in Kevin Love kind of down the stretch for some 3-point shooting. So I personally probably am not going to bet it, but I like the case for the over.
Yeah, and for which stat are you talking about the over for K Love?
Probably the PRA or PRA. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the play for sure. I'm kind of on that at this point. I mean, I gotta stop looking at all the green because I'm just as susceptible as any newbie bettor at just seeing green and being like, gimme. So let me get the hell away from that screen before I just blindly bet Kevin Love PRA. But I think that makes a ton of sense as well. The other dude, so Drummond, real quick. Anybody I'll start with you, Daft. Anything about Drummond? Do you in terms of his minutes or playing in this game or being a fit for it? And if that, obviously if that impacts anybody else's props that you like.
It wasn't on the board for me when I was checking.
Okay, yeah.
So I don't really have.
Let me ask you about something way more interesting then, because I'll just move to it. Javonte Green, and I already know where DK stands on Javonte Green, at least from the video that you put out about today's slate. But anything for Javonte, because I love attacking Javonte Green. When I am very confident he's going to get 20 to 25 minutes.
Look, he's the perfect type of player that I'd love to bet on. It's especially in the playoffs, right? We see starters get more minutes. You see a lot of role players assume to get less minutes and their lines get lower.
Yeah.
Javonte Green seems like money to me. like one of those Highsmith type of guys, low lines, potential to double it. You got big plus money offers on the table. So yeah, I love the opportunity in this one, especially with the Caruso and Desomu statuses, right?
Right. That's, I think, a big part of this, which is like, so Caruso's officially available, Drummond's available, and Ayo's available. So this is what happens when we do this damn thing, is that we're always doing a live stream when these actual important bits of information are coming out. I have to be costing myself money by doing these live streams, but it's for the people. We love to eat. So Ayo, I was definitely going to go right into Javonte Green if Ayo is out. We're talking about two of the dudes that take the most corner threes against a team that gives up corner threes, right? And I do think on defense, there's a bit of Spider-Man meme stuff with these two teams because they just like to go out and pressure the crap out of the ball up high, which is why they both give up spot-up shooters. They both give up corner threes just as much as anything, which obviously corner threes is almost always going to be like a catch-and-shoot situation. No one's dribbling to the corner to shoot it. So that's why you see that stuff from guys like Javonte. Is he still a go with Ayo and Caruso in DK? Since you were the one who brought it to my attention that like if at least one of those dudes is out, then Javonte is a great play.
Yeah, I think it comes down to like what you guys think the health is for Caruso, and that I can't really say because like he couldn't come back in last game, so he's definitely not 100%. And if he even like aggravates that at all, like Green's the guy that's going to benefit, right? If Caruso gets somewhat limited, like Javonte Green is the guy. So
yeah,
like the call to and like the Highsmith comparison, I think he's pretty similar type player. So yeah, I think it for me it comes down to what you guys think the health is of Caruso. If you think he's going to be full go, then probably I don't love it. If you think Caruso's going to be somewhat limited, then yeah, I think Green is the guy that benefits.
For me, it's I'm someone who doesn't care about the win-loss record, right? So for somebody like this, I would say it might be worth the risk of just taking him for 10 points, and that way your outlay is really small. Because if it runs the way you would hope it to run, he's going to have a great game. I don't think his line is sharp to the point where he just gets close. I think this is a no-sweat one, I think he's killing it, or he's not getting close.
Yeah, I love that. It's no sweat because it's either just not clearly not going to hit.
Yeah.
and the problem with my problem with Javonte Green is, do you think he's going to close, right? Like I do think this is going to be a pretty close game, to be honest, without Jimmy. Do you think does Javonte close? Do you have anything on that, DK, in terms of the lineups that he's in there?
I would say there's a chance he closes if the Bulls are playing from ahead. I think if the Bulls are trailing, probably not, but again, it all comes down to Caruso for me, and that's just kind of tough. Like I don't know how healthy he is.
Yeah, that's fair. A couple other things in this one then. Anything that let me just toss to you real quick, Dap. Did you have anything else in this one that you played already that you want to share?
Highsmith was the main,
right?
That was the main one.
Yeah, that one.
Highsmith.
This looks pretty juicy. 1-3 for Javonte. Just trying to see how many takes he's had, because if I was pulling him up here, did I have him up right now? No, this is Haywood Haysmith. Javonte on his shooting, if I'm on his points, they don't even have it for him. That makes sense. I'd have to go all the way up to but I mean, look, the corner stuff is really what I care about for Javonte, because I know that he's taken like 1.5, 2 threes or so in that time frame. So I think the half a three for like -117 is not a bad look. I understand
1.4 attempts over his last 10.
Say again?
1.4 attempts in his last 10 with Caruso and Desunmo in the lineup.
With them in the lineup, yeah, that's they steal from each other for sure. So the minutes, I mean, I think 20 is probably a good look for him in this one. I mean, he matches up well with all the players going to be thrown out there for Miami. But let me let you get one more in there, DK, at least until you got to roll out on us, which is like any picks. That I didn't just sort of open it to you for anything for this Bulls and Heat game. What your preferences are so far?
Yeah, so I'm a Bam guy. I like his assist. Gets a nice bump in assist percentage with Jimmy Butler off the court. I think they're really going to run a lot of offense through him. And again, I think he's going to play huge minutes. He only played 31 last game, but he dealt with some foul trouble. I would not be surprised if he pushed it 40 plus in this game. Yeah. So I like basically any of Bam's props. I took his triple double at plus 5,500. That's down now to plus 15 to plus 2,000.
Yeah. So I hit it at plus 33 and felt like a brilliant son of a bitch until you just said that.
I was getting trolled by people on Twitter too about giving like, oh, Bam only has 2 triple doubles this year. I'm like, that's irrelevant information.
Yep, I love that. Yeah, I haven't seen him do it, so he can't do it again. You idiot. Right. That's the logic that is often coming our way. I feel that. Bam. So PRA and or triple double, right, is what you're talking about here. Jesus.
Yeah, assists too. I like PRA. Triple double, but I don't think there's much edge now in the triple double line. Yeah, it's like plus 1,500, plus 2,000, which I give it about 5-6% chance he gets a triple double. So that's why I liked it so much at plus 5,500.
Right.
But yeah, I think they're gonna lean on him heavily here. So
which is so okay. So the best part was the dude who was like on Twitter was like, I give this a 1% chance of happening, and you're like. Yeah, I mean, I can do math too and understand that like when something's at that level of odds, that it means that it's not likely to happen. Your point, and I'm speaking for you now. My point, if you're you in this situation, is like I'm giving it a 5% chance. Mm-hmm. That means that I think it's 5 times more likely to happen than the odds are showing, which means I hit it. That's how betting works. But like,
yeah, I already know I'm going to get trolled too by a lot of people if he doesn't get a triple double. I'm like, well, I'm giving it like a 94-95% chance he doesn't, but people like don't understand the value in the bet. So
and you know, to be fair to some people, like there is like that's also why I just dole out straights more consistently than anything. Even if I do have some parlays, and look, I play Prize Picks as much as the next guy. To be honest with you, it's going very well, thank you. But like more importantly, I lose a ton. I lose way more than I win on Prize Picks because that's the whole damn point of it. So I'm like, look, I don't want to deal with the people that are like, yo, you're 0 for your last 7. And I'm like, right, but I hit 1 and I'm up. Like, do you understand that? Like I hit 1 and I'm up by 3 units.
Yeah,
so like,
it's frustrating trying to explain that to people because I play like mainly 5 and 6 peg flexes and Prize Picks. So like, yeah, I'm going to lose majority of my slips, but like as long as you know, it's all about the ROI really. So
100%. Daff knows that. That's why he has his bitch ass parlays that he plays, as he calls it. Right, bro?
That's exactly right. I actually didn't even put one up for my video last night. That was the first set of comments I got. No BAP tonight?
No BAP. Where's the BAP? Yeah, I love that. All right, dude. I know you got to do another stream here in just a minute, DK. So anything else you want to leave with the people before Daft and I take us home?
I think someone asked in the stream what my SGP is. Is there a chance you can bring that up? I tweeted it out.
For
the
sure.
Nance JV one, just for if anyone wants to tail. I don't know if the odds have shifted on it, but it should be like my most recent, one of my most recent.
Right here?
That one.
Cool.
Yep. That's what I took. Again, thought process is just, you know, JV gets limited minutes. If JV gets limited minutes, who benefits? It's obviously Nance. So that's my take on it. I think you know, plus 11,000 odds was worth the shot.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say $50 to make 5,500 is worth it for sure. So I love it, man. That's beautiful. Yeah, I appreciate you making me bring that up because that's money. So yeah, best of luck to you, dude. You got a stream coming up, right?
Yeah, I should get out of here. But
yeah, do your
really
thing.
You having me on.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on at DKDFS. Check him out on YouTube. He's gonna be up here in about 10 minutes, right? So definitely, you can feel free to leave this one if you want, because it's gonna be 2 dudes talking about stuff a lot less intelligently. So whatever you guys want to do, it's all good. But appreciate you being on, brother. For either way.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Josh. Good to meet you, Daft.
Good to meet you, man.
All right, bro. Best of luck tonight, man. Yeah. Let's see. Is it gonna? Oh yes, look at that. It automatically puts you in the spot.
Oh, I'm in the starting lineup again.
Yeah, we just subbed you in. Bring in the lefty here. We got him in. All right, bro. Let's do this real quick. Anything that we haven't talked about, because I'm gonna give us about 10 minutes. I have to go to a wedding tonight. I gotta get another video. We got stuff going on, you know. So
that's rude.
We got someone talking about DeMar under points. Can we start with that actually? Because I was waffling stupidly, hella back and forth with DeMar on that one. Where are you at with DDR?
Yeah, I don't like his points line. I'd lean to the under. What concerns me is the reason why you took his points plus assists, and that's the volume. Is he aggressive as hell? Is that motivation around his daughter thing? That's in my mind as well. But I'm not going to be betting the over for DeMar on anything. But I wouldn't take his under purely because of that volume.
Yeah.
Defensively, Miami, they probably match up well with DeMar. But if you take a look at the way he plays, it doesn't matter too much. Like he takes difficult shots all the time. So I lean to the under, but I was hoping to see some line movement because I was hoping 500,000 casual bettors will just see his recent form and just back his over and move that line up, and then I'd take the under, but I haven't seen that. So I forget who was asking about. Yeah, Drew Billions was asking about it because and where I agree with your analysis entirely. So I really wanted to bet the over on the assists, and I just couldn't bring myself to do it at the juice. It actually went down a bit, so now it's at 5.5 minus 114. It was like minus 132 when I was looking at it. And here's what I'm looking at with DeMar. This is insane to me. I'm going to put this on props.cash at head-to-head numbers. Look at the assists on the season. He played 4 times. He's had 5, 5, 4, 4. So that you're like, oh, wow, that's bad because he needs 6 tonight.
Look at the freaking potential assists from this dude against this team. What? This is
Yeah.
Tyrese Halliburton, Trae Young territory. What are we talking about? So, like,
who's he passing to?
Seriously, who is he? Is he just hitting Drummond for foul shots or something? Like, who is taking these shots that they're shooting 29% field goal percentage? Are the players that he passes the ball to for a potential assist? Well, that's me and you out there, dude. And I could definitely hit more than 29. I'm just saying, we won the rec league championship the other night. So, like, that's a little crazy for me. But the 16 and a half potential assists in the last two. So I took the points and assists because my thinking was, I was like, look, I'm getting in on the DeMar action. If the man's playing for his daughter, I'm taking Papa DeMar. And on top of that, I just can't leave the points out as much as they are. So I put them together. Maybe he gets 6 assists, and then I still need the normal amount of points. But there's a very strong case that he can have 8 to 9 assists tonight with the amount of potentials that he's had. It'd still be under 50% if he went for 16 or 17 potentials again. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. I think Daft is right on, though. If you're being intelligent about this, like, there's no value anymore on DeMar DeRozan, and you're just being someone who's getting caught up in the moment like I am. But I still put it out. I see Free Sauce, one of our faves, talking about under on DDR. I respect that for sure. Jake, just so you know, DK DFS was just here. He was all over Nance's rebounds on the over. He's all over Nance everything and under on Joval. So I definitely was happy to have the dude who was sort of the antithesis of everything that everybody online is talking about right now for that game. So I like that. But anything else for this Bulls game here and the Heat, and I'll call it the Heat game because I think there's probably a little bit more value on these Heat players.
I didn't like anything for Tyler Hero. I know that's for sure.
Yep.
I was close to taking it under, but again, there's probably volume that I'm probably worried about. I did have a lot more plays in the Kings game, though.
Okay. Yeah, I think we moved away from that one too quickly. I'll just give out a couple things real quick because I had them here. The bets that I had. Oh, and of course they're not up now. I did take Joval. So if you want to, it's either me or DK that you're talking about following here. But the bet that I had Caleb Martin. I also wanted to bring up Kobe White real quick because those were two other ones, and I had those up last night. So Kobe White, I took over 2.5 threes. And shout out to Ray, who is one of the dudes in there also in the Discord who's just comes up with these fire looks. Because I like he's like us. He doesn't want to bet on the stars as much as he wants to bet on the role players at like 7.5 points and stuff like that. And plus, he just has some good looks. And the Kobe White stuff that I was looking at, just had to cover you up real quick, even though you're more handsome than me. He on the points, I was at like 20.5, and I was like, this is a look for Kobe, who's just going bonkers in the last game, had a career game. But also the threes, like, it just makes too much sense, right? Like, I'll take this off real quick because the spot up stuff for him, and I'm going to pull up, everything I can pull up quickly. I'm going to pull up Props Madness because I think that does a good job of showing you Kobe White spot up. Boom. Not only is he leading the team in spot up points, by the way, he leads the NBA in spot up points. This is the #1 spot up shooter in the league according to volume and total output, right? And that's what this Miami Heat team is going to be vulnerable with, just like the Bulls. That's why I said there's a little bit of like Spider-Man looking at each other's stuff because of the way they overpressure the ball. So I think the 2.5 threes is a good look for Kobe. But yeah, I'll leave that alone. And then, like I said, at the beginning, Caleb Martin over 18.5 PRA. I know that our boy DK DFS was on that with me as well. So, but let me give you a shot at the SAC game before we roll out of here in a sec.
One thing I did on my video last night, I said I'm going to put up 2 plays that nobody's going to be talking about, and I took a risk on that. So I had the Highsmith play. That was one. I was like, I don't think anyone's going to talk about this. I even took him for 3 3-pointers. Like, I got insane plus money on that.
Love it.
I think that Highsmith, the 3 3-pointers was plus 700.
Whoo! Love it.
So that was one. And then in the Pels game, I went with Dyson Daniels.
Okay.
He's Australian.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm pretty sure I know what that's about, but you let me know. Give me something else besides the fact that he's a countryman.
I think with Zion out, the minutes are there for him. The risk to that is Najee Marshall, but I checked the numbers without Zion, and Dyson does get a good run time. I hope to see that 25 minutes from him. His line's only at 4.5, so I saw insane value for him to get 10 points. I think in the majority of his games where he scored 10 plus points, he's always hitting 3 rebounds because he's got the minutes. Mm-hmm. So I took him for 10 points and 3 rebounds. That was plus 1,000.
Oh, wow. Oh, because he's at 4.5 points. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Got you. So you just took him on the rebounds prop, which is juiced all the way down to 170 at this point.
10 points and 3 rebounds together, plus 1,000. But I also took his over 4.5 points. Looking at his shot profile, without Zion, right, we know the Pelicans, it's going to be difficult for them to get into the paint. You need to get some paint touches. I don't feel like that's going to be Joval. I feel like it's going to be like someone Dyson Daniels popping some floaters in there. They need to get to the rim. One reason why I'm not betting the CJ McCollum 3-point prop is because I think he's the only other player capable of getting those paint touches to kick out the shooters.
You're saying Dyson Daniels is the only, or you're saying CJ is the only one who can get into the lane?
Yes, I think he has to take that on because BI ain't beating nobody. Trey Murphy's not trying. They only have Joe Bell inside. Larry Nance is just going to be setting picks all day and rolling. So I think it's up to CJ McCollum to get those paint touches. They're still going to live and die by the three, don't get me wrong, but someone needs to hit the paint in order to get that shot, to open it up. And I think CJ takes that responsibility on, and I think Dyson Daniels needs to.
So then the $1 million question that DK was in favor of the PA, points and assists for CJ. Are you any thoughts on that? I know you briefly mentioned the threes. Anything with the points and assists as I pull them up on props.cash?
I personally am leaning to the under on it.
29.5.
Yeah, I'm leaning to the under on it. I feel like, I don't know, I felt like the over was too easy if you're just looking at recent games against the Kings. But I also feel like his role needs to change in this one, CJ. He needs to be aggressive. I think there's a chance he gets the points. I think the assists could potentially come, but I feel like there'll be a lot of hockey assists.
Yeah.
Because I don't trust and like what I'm seeing from BI. So I think
CJ my next question.
Step up, but I don't know if he's going to be the primary scorer. I know he's going to do a lot more of the creating. I know he's going to get some paint touches. He's going to get into the paint. But how well the Kings defend on the inside is my only concern. So I'm not betting anything on CJ today.
Yep.
But, yeah.
Bet. I'm with you. I get all that. I'm just looking at the comments to see if there's anything that we missed that we can't get. Freestyle says Capper's Cabal is slowly coming together. I'm gonna have to. The problem is now I'm gonna have to pay you for that name, bro. I know you have a trademark, so I don't know if I could even use it moving forward, but I do like that. The only other thing I would talk about with this Pelly's game, and I'm with you on the staying away from the CJ stuff because I think it's a little bit more 50-50. I don't quite have enough of an edge. I did pull up real quick that without Zion and BI, the last time he played this team last February of 23, he went under the PA there at 28. I mean, not apples to apples, but still relevant. But yeah, the BI stuff is what I was really wondering about. That was the last thing I wanted to talk about real quick, was BI. I want to make sure I'm not missing anybody that I'm like, yo, this might be another good look. I'll just say this before spot up shooters. Anybody that you consider a good spot up shooter in this game is going to have some success. That's always been the case. The problem is like the spot ups for the Pellies come off of Zion's passing after he drives and kicks. And without that scares me a lot more from taking stuff like 4 threes for Trey Murphy and stuff like that. Right. So the last thing I'll talk about, before we dip, there was, I'm sorry, I have to do 2 things. One is De'Aaron Fox. Did you have a thought on him? And I can go as well, but wanted to see if you had any thoughts on him because someone brought up him for either over or under stuff.
I'm pretty much leaning to the under in most of his props, but given the magnitude of this game, I feel like I'd be stupid to do that. All the data was telling me it was probably best to take the under. I didn't like what I saw in terms of form against his opponent, the matchup, and all that type of stuff. I'd lean to the under, but you'd be a fool to not think he's going to get more opportunities, more minutes, do or die game. Yeah. So I just chose to avoid it.
Same, yeah. I'm leaning. I would be leaning towards the under for De'Aaron Fox for the people who were talking about him in the chat. Just want to make sure we at least touched on it real quick. But I understand the desire to even just like continue to back stars. This is a game 7. This is not game 1 of the playoffs, right? A lot of people. There were some people were talking about like feeling out lineups and stuff that I was listening to a podcast. I was like, what? This is a do or die game. What are we talking about here? Like, and I was a radio host who clearly just doesn't know what he's talking about. But more importantly, for BI, that's the other thing, because I do have some stuff for him. I do think he might be a good buy low situation. The points were at 18.5 for a while. They jumped up to 19.5. Looking at here, it's 32.5 PRA. It's now 20.5 points. Okay. So I lost any value. I should have hit it at 18.5 and I didn't, because I do think there's value in this. I took the over on the assists last game. Yeah, now it's 6.5. So everything's gone for value for BI for me. But any quick take on Ingram and if there's a play for him at all?
I agree. When I was looking at this last night, I thought great opportunity. His numbers without Zion are amazing. His numbers against the Kings are amazing. The only concern was he's 3 games back from an injury where he's averaging 25 minutes played. Yeah. I did a bit of research in it. Willie Green said that he trained really well. He's going to get more minutes, more time, and all that type of stuff. So a lot of that pointed to the to the over, but I've been quite disciplined in not betting players coming back from injury.
Yeah,
because it's cooked me so many times, and I'm just really just taking a risk. Like, I'm actually just gambling. Like, there's no logic in what I was doing.
Right.
When it feels like I'm reaching and I'm hoping, it's not a bad play. So I do lean to the over with BI, but I feel like there are better options on the board for me to throw my money at.
For just points or anything else for him?
Just points. I feel like that assist line is a bit too high for my liking.
Yep, I get that. The shots he's taken against this team real quick. 18, 18, 20. Let me take Zion out of here, see what that does real quick as well. Taking Zion out. Yeah, so he went under in January. I think that game was a blowout. He played 30 minutes, which is way less than he normally does. So that makes sense. That was one of the.
He was also one of those guys. I don't have a list. You know, a lot of people got them lists. I don't have them lists, but I put him in the same vein as your Mikal Bridges, your Tobias Harrises. I just don't like betting on them. Right?
Okay, but to be clear, he's better than both of those players.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's got to do with his ability. It's just how I feel when I bet on them. Because sometimes when I bet on Brandon Ingram in the past, I'd watch the game and I'm like, does this guy give a shit? Not about my bet, but is he trying out here?
Be careful, because what I've said about that is it's not fair that he looks stoned all the time.
Yes.
There's some people with the eyelids, man, that just stay closed. And it's unfortunate, you know, people like me could smoke all day and I still just like look wide-eyed and cheery. Not going to be the case for everybody. So that's a little bit unfair. But so, and here's the thing, by the way, because this is a good point. I fell victim to this as well. But here's what Willie Green said. He didn't say he's going to get more minutes. He said he's going to have his minutes restriction raised, which was so damn vague that it was like, all right, he's not giving us anything to work with here. This is that was for the Lakers more than any of us bettors. I mean, nothing that he does is for us bettors, but everything, you know, that was clearly like a Bill Belichickian kind of like, hey, maybe we're going to play him this game. We're going to play. And I think we fell victim to that. Now, why I like him here, though, and this is the last thing I'll say, and I'll let us both dip, is the idea that, like, well, what else are you going to do? Like, what do you mean? Are you really worried about this? And by the way, if one of these dudes has to go when their contract is up between him and Zion, it's Zion has the key to the city. So, like, it ain't going to be him that's going to be shipped out anywhere at this point, right? If they were going to ship Zion, they probably would have done it before this season. But that's for another podcast. So, all right, I'm gonna wrap it on that. I will be in the Discord in a little bit, and I know Daft has been jumping in as well. I'll be jumping in yours, but also want to just see. Did I forget anything else for you? Did you have any sneaky plays in here?
No. Actually, I'm glad that I came on here, because once we're done, I'm going to take a bet for Kevin Love. That's what I'm going to take.
Yeah. I think I'm on the same page, bro. You guys convinced me. I really thought his minutes were going to be bad. I owe somebody in the Discord an apology because I was like, nah, I'm not feeling Kevin Love. So if you know, I forget who it was, but if you're in here, my bad. Maybe that is a good play and a good look by you. So I apologize for that, but I'll find you in Discord and let you know I was wrong. I think it was Dillo, but not sure if he's in here. Either way, appreciate you, bro. Anything you got coming up this weekend or anything like that, or you're still just kind of running same style shit?
Business as usual, ramping up. I think in early May, I've got some time off where I'll be streaming every single day on Playback TV, so I'll get you involved in that.
Yeah,
I'll be streaming every single day, and I've got a lot of just sports betting education content that I've been working on, because like every video, it's about like what is a unit, what is bankroll management. I lost everything on your bets yesterday, and I'm like, how does this happen? I don't get it. Like, I don't lose 100% of my bets every day, so how could you lose everything?
Right.
So I've got a lot of educational stuff that's coming up too.
Bet. No, I love that. Yeah, Daft previews. A lot of everybody here knows him, but definitely want to check out that stuff as well. And he's back on Twitter, everybody. Welcome back, Daft, after getting the boot from Elon, I think, or somebody that did like what you had to say or whatever happened. But all right. Do want to remind everybody, Discord link is in the bio. The link is in the description of the video, so you can grab that. Really big thanks to Daft. Also had DK on. Really, really solid stuff from them. Jump in there in that Discord if you want to hit us up on Twitter as well. Now we can rap back and forth about some stuff, but I will be on the Discord here in a minute. We'll maybe happy to have office hours if anybody wants to do those as well. Got that game starting in 30, but other than that, we'll talk soon. Gamble responsibly and happy betting moving forward. All right, y'all. Oh, and I don't even think I mentioned. I'm sorry. We're streaming all weekend. If y'all are still here, we got Saturday and Sunday, 2:30 p.m. Eastern. Probably too early for DAF, but I'm gonna have Pips on Sunday if you want some of that. Trying to get Prop Bomb on tomorrow, but I think he's going to the Heat game tonight, so maybe there's a little hangover tomorrow. Not really sure. We'll see. But either way, I'll be streaming right when that after that Orlando and Cleveland game starts. So get in there if you want to talk about the games that come after that, and I'll have a video out about that game coming up here in a little bit. So I want to make sure I got that info out to you guys. And now, happy betting.